Who do you think you are? Get out of my store, you thief! The manager, Claudia, shouted as she slapped the black woman across the face and dragged her out of the luxury boutique like an animal. Completely unaware of who she was truly messing with, that IT all started in a high-end clothing store where the aisles gleamed immaculately, and mannequins were dressed in outfits that cost more than a common person's monthly salary. It was the kind of place where it didn't matter what you were looking for. The first thing they evaluated was if you had the means to pay. Suddenly, Maria, a black woman of impeccable bearing, entered. She came in with a firm step, dressed simply, and walked slowly, observing the racks. The store manager, Claudia, appeared like a shadow behind her. Claudia had a hardened expression and a tone of voice that was only superficially polite. "Ma'am, do you need help?" she asked without a hint of a smile. Maria calmly looked at her and shook her head. "No, thank you. I'm just looking." Still, Claudia didn't move. She followed closely, suspicion etched into every glance. When Maria lifted a navy blue dress against her body, Claudia suddenly snatched it from her hands. "This isn't for you," she spat. "You should know this place is very expensive. We don't give anything away for free." Maria's blood rushed, but she remained composed. "Excuse me, what are you implying?" Claudia stepped closer. "I'm saying you can't touch what you can't afford. This dress costs more than you'll make in your life." Maria clenched her fists. "You don't know who I am or my financial capacity. You have no right to treat me like this." In an instant, Claudia slapped her. The sound echoed through the store. Maria touched her cheek, stunned, while Claudia barked. "That's what you get for acting like my equal. Get out. You're not welcome here." Customers whispered, but no one intervened. Maria raised her head with a faint smile. "Are you sure about this?" "Of course," Claudia sneered. "You're taking up space you don't deserve. This is a luxury store, not a street market. Out, you black woman, before I call security." Tears welled in Maria's eyes, but she whispered, "Why would you call security? I'm not stealing anything." "I don't need proof," Claudia hissed. "I just need to look at you. Get out. I don't want animals rummaging through my clothes." She grabbed Maria's arm, dragging her toward the door. "Are you deaf as well as black? Didn't you understand?" "Let me go," Maria cried, but Claudia shoved her outside. "And if you return, I'll call the police." Maria staggered, clutching the wall, her dignity fractured but not broken. Claudia slammed the glass door shut and stormed into the security office. Demanding the camera footage, she doctored the video, cutting and splicing until it appeared Maria had slipped a garment into her purse. Smirking at her handiwork, she muttered, "Now that black woman will regret ever stepping into my store." The following morning, Maria received a thick envelope, a lawsuit accusing her of theft. Inside was a manipulated screenshot. The document described her as a woman of black race, of suspicious attitude, branding her a criminal. Maria sat through the night, the paper burning in her hands. "A thief," she whispered. Exhaustion weighed her down, but by morning she sought her lawyer. "I don't want to fight," she murmured. "I just want to resolve this simply." Her lawyer suggested, "Go back to the store. Ask her to drop the lawsuit before this escalates." Though reluctant, Maria returned. Employees lowered their eyes as she entered. Claudia appeared instantly, smirking. "You again? Didn't you get enough yesterday?" Maria steadied her voice. "I came to ask you to drop the lawsuit. I didn't steal. You know it." Claudia laughed cruelly. "Drop it? Please. The only thing I'll drop is trash like you." "I'm here respectfully," Maria replied. "Don't ruin me with a lie." "Respect? You inspire pity. Get out before I call the police." Claudia seized her wrist, dragging her toward the door once more. "I don't want to see you prowling like a rat." Children and customers watched in silence, some horrified. Maria left with burning tears, humiliated again. Days later, the trial arrived. The courtroom filled with murmurs, journalists tapping away. Maria entered with her lawyer, dressed impeccably, her face calm though her eyes burned with quiet fire. Claudia strutted in, brimming with arrogance. The judge struck the gavel. "The session is open." Claudia testified first. "Your Honor, that woman entered my store suspiciously. I saw her put high-value garments into her purse. Do you have proof? The judge asked. Claudia handed over a USB. Here is the video. Irrefutable. The manipulated clip played. Maria holding a dress, then a clumsy cut making it seem as though something slipped into her purse. As you see, Claudia continued smoothly, this isn't prejudice. It's fact. Women of her profile often attempt theft. Maria clenched her fists beneath the table. Her lawyer touched her arm gently, urging calm. The trial had only just begun. When it was the defense's turn, he rose with calm assurance. Your Honor, my client has been humiliated, assaulted, and now falsely accused. But what the accusing party doesn't realize is simple. You cannot steal what already belongs to you. The judge frowned. Explain yourself. The lawyer inhaled deeply and fixed his eyes on Claudia. I have only one question that will leave this entire lawsuit without foundation. How can someone steal from their own store? The silence was absolute. Claudia froze, her face pale. Maria, for the first time since the ordeal began, allowed herself a small, dignified smile. A murmur spread through the courtroom until the judge struck his gavel. Silence. Turning to Maria, he asked, Ma'am, what does it mean that it's your store? Maria stood, unhurried, her voice steady and poised. Your Honor, the clothing store where I was falsely accused isn't just familiar to me, it's mine. I am the founder and sole owner of the chain. Claudia gave a nervous laugh. That's impossible. That woman has nothing to do with objection, interrupted Maria's lawyer. We have irrefutable evidence. The judge nodded. Present it. From his briefcase, the lawyer pulled a thick folder. Here are the corporate documents, purchase invoices, notarial records, and the business license in my client's name, Maria Johnson. These prove, without question, she owns the company and the specific branch in which this incident occurred. The judge flipped through the pages with care, then looked up. It is clearly established here. Ms. Johnson is the legal owner. A ripple of shock swept through the courtroom. Maria turned toward Claudia, her voice unwavering. Your Honor, how could I steal something that has always belonged to me? Ms. Rodriguez not only humiliated me and forced me out of my own store like an animal, but she also fabricated evidence to defame me publicly. Each word landed heavy in the silence. Claudia's face burned with shame and fury. Her fists clenched, yet no words came out. Maria stepped forward, her tone carrying both dignity and pain. All I did was walk into my store, and because of the color of my skin, I was treated as a criminal. The judge examined the documents one final time, his expression grave. The room held its breath. Finally, he raised his eyes. It has been demonstrated that Ms. Johnson is the rightful owner. The accusations brought by Ms. Rodriguez are false and were supported by manipulated evidence. He struck the gavel firmly. This court dismisses the lawsuit and orders an investigation against Ms. Claudia Rodriguez for defamation, assault, and falsification of evidence. Gasps filled the courtroom. Relief washed over Maria. She closed her eyes briefly, releasing a burden too heavy to carry. Claudia collapsed in her chair, trembling. She tried to speak, but only broken murmurs escaped. Power, reputation, and pride had slipped away. All eyes turned on her, not with respect, but with contempt. Days later, headlines blazed across newspapers and social media. Luxury store manager accused of racism and falsifying evidence. Images showed Claudia escorted by officials, her once polished career destroyed, her name permanently stained. Meanwhile, Maria returned to her store, not as a humiliated customer, but as the true owner she had always been. She walked the aisles with calm authority. Employees greeted her with newfound respect, some with quiet shame for their silence that day. From today forward, Maria announced, her voice carrying through the store, I will be more careful about who is hired. No one in this place, my place, will ever again treat a human being with such cruelty. Several employees nodded, some wiping tears. The atmosphere shifted. The oppressive shadow of arrogance and racism had lifted. Maria smiled, not with triumph, but with dignity. She had reclaimed her space, her honor, and the trust of those who truly mattered. The Real defeat was never hers. The one who lost everything was Claudia, the woman who thought she held power, but who was ultimately undone by her own hate.